One desperate $50 million offer. One catastrophic mistake that changed business history forever. It's the year 2000. Inside a dimly lit Blockbuster boardroom in Dallas, Texas, two men are about to make a pitch that will alter corporate history forever. Their names are Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph. Their company is small, unprofitable, and barely 3 years old. It's called Netflix. They have flown in with one desperate offer on the table. Sell us for $50 million, cash. Across the conference table sits John Antioco, the powerful CEO of Blockbuster. At this exact moment, Blockbuster is an absolute titan. They have 9,000 stores, billions of dollars in revenue, and they are the undisputed king of movie night. Antioco listens to the pitch. He looks at these two men. He looks at their tiny, mail-order DVD company. And according to Hastings, he almost laughed them straight out of the room. Yet, just 10 years later, Blockbuster would be completely bankrupt, and Netflix would grow to be worth over $100 billion. This is the story of how one meeting, one fatal decision, and one company's arrogance handed away an empire. To truly understand the magnitude of this mistake, you have to understand just how powerful Blockbuster actually was at the turn of the millennium. By the late 1990s, Blockbuster wasn't just a successful video rental store. It was a mandatory Friday night ritual for millions of families. At its absolute peak, the company operated over 9,000 retail locations worldwide, generating almost $6 billion in annual revenue. But beneath that massive success sat a business model built on one very specific, highly profitable secret: late fees. Blockbuster made roughly $800 million a year solely from customers returning movies past their due dates. While it was easily one of the most hated customer experiences in all of retail, it was wildly profitable for the board. So, when two guys from a struggling mail-order DVD startup walked in offering to sell their entire business for $50 million, the executives at Blockbuster didn't see a legitimate threat. They saw a joke. The ultimate irony is that Netflix's entire business model almost didn't exist. Popular lore states that Reed Hastings got the initial idea for Netflix after being charged a massive $40 late fee on a rented copy of Apollo 13. Frustrated by the experience, he built a competitor designed to solve exactly that pain point. No due dates, no late fees, just a flat monthly subscription. It was a direct psychological attack on Blockbuster's most lucrative weapon. However, back in the year 2000, Netflix was hemorrhaging cash and desperately needed a financial lifeline. That is why Hastings and Randolph flew to Dallas. They hoped Blockbuster would buy them out, fold the digital concepts into their massive brand, and let the DVD by mail idea survive under a much larger, safer roof. Instead, they walked out of the building with absolutely nothing. They had no idea what they just unleashed, or that they had just signed their own death act. For the next few years, it genuinely appeared as though Blockbuster had made the right call. Netflix grew at a slow pace, while Blockbuster stayed massive. But underneath the surface, the entire landscape was shifting. The internet was getting faster, and digital streaming was finally becoming technologically possible. Netflix wasn't just mailing physical DVDs anymore. They were quietly building the framework to deliver movies straight into people's living rooms. Without a store, without a disc, and without a drive, Blockbuster possessed every imaginable resource to compete. They had billions in cash, thousands of physical locations, and massive brand recognition. What they lacked was urgency. To be fair, CEO John Antioco wasn't completely blind to the future. Around 2004, he tried to aggressively pivot the company. He launched Blockbuster Online and even eliminated the hated late fees. But removing late fees cost the company nearly $200 million a year in instant revenue, and the board of directors revolted. Following intense corporate infighting and pressure from activist investors, Antioco was forced out in 2007. The one executive pushing Blockbuster toward the internet was suddenly gone. Meanwhile, Netflix kept building. In 2007, they launched the digital feature that would change the world forever: streaming. No more waiting for the mail. No more driving to a store in the rain. Just click play. Blockbuster tried to respond, but by then they were drowning in structural debt from thousands of physical stores they couldn't close fast enough. They were buried under $1 billion in liability, while Netflix operated with virtually zero physical overhead. It was no longer a fair fight. In September of 2010, Blockbuster officially filed for bankruptcy. Within a few short years, nearly every single store vanished. Today, there is exactly one lone Blockbuster left on Earth, located in Bend, Oregon, kept alive purely by tourists and deep nostalgia. Meanwhile, Netflix is now worth more than most major banks on Wall Street. The $50 million purchase price they once begged Blockbuster to accept is now worth less than what Netflix generates in a single day of operations. So, what actually killed Blockbuster? It wasn't a single bad decision in a Dallas boardroom. It was the internal mindset behind that decision. Blockbuster was so dominant, so profitable, and so comfortable that it simply could not imagine a world where it wasn't in charge. They didn't just underestimate Netflix, they underestimated change itself. By the time you realize a small threat is serious, it is already too late. Never confuse comfort with safety.